Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Linda, and this is for the record, Your Honor. We need to talk about Jorge Prado. So we know Jorge Prado and Kawasaki have parted ways, and it's about damn time, honestly. We all know also the drama that has been going on privately and publicly. Once it became public, that was it. It was done. First came on the scene and did a test run with the guys. I believe it was 2024 for one race. I was skeptical, but I was like, okay, all right. And then when he was on the US roster for the whole next year and season, I was actually pumped, really excited about George. Boy, was I not expecting the outcome that we got from this Spanish hunk. I've gone up and down about it all. 1 minute I'm okay with it all, and 1 minute I'm like, okay, maybe it's just a language barrier issue and it's all a misunderstanding. Then the next, it's the total opposite where it comes off rude and arrogant. Jorge never changed his tune or tone. He was pretty persistent that he was not the problem and that the bike was. Overall, in general, that's not how you do or go about things here in the US. It's a bad look, not just on the team, but on you as a rider. You speaking out against your support and your team, that's showing no loyalty or gratitude. Just not good for any of you. Jorge has officially been signed to KTM, and it has been reported and rumored that in order for him to be released, he must break contracts with Monster Energy, as he's going to KTM, which is Red Bull sponsored. So I'm pretty sure they probably did buy that out. As for the previous rumor that he was going to be paid only on a performance contract, since he owes money to get out of the Kawasaki contract, it's just a big old mess. With this whole separation from Jorge and the Green Team, they have needed a replacement for George and Jason Anderson El Hombre, since he has moved from Kawasaki now to be partnered up with Ken Roczen over at Suzuki, which we will discuss with Nitty Gritty, as he is an El Hombre fan, as well as our RM Suzuki owner and rider himself nowadays. Anderson and Roczen might just be the spicy concoction the yellow banana pepper team needs. Kickstart Hombre. Hey, I'm okay with that. So stay tuned for the podcast on that and how we feel about the whole thing. But the rumor is his replacement is going to be Garrett Marchbanks. Do you think he's ready? I don't know. I know he's a big boy. So fit-wise and posture-wise, he'll probably be fine. But can he handle that speed? Can he handle the power? So all this is just a mess financially, mentally. KTM must be out of their minds. Let's hope now that George is back with his home team from MXGP, maybe he will succeed and blow our minds. That is to be seen and determined next season. He best hope he's right about challenging Judson, which is a far jump there, buddy. Make some impressions, good ones this time, and we'll talk about that in the future. Win some races before we talk all that shit. I still think they made a mistake throwing him on a 450 to begin with. He was completely new to Supercross. So they should have started him out on a 250. Why not? Do you guys agree? Tell me in the comments down below. What do you think? Will he do better at KTM? Will he be forgiven by the sports fans? I don't know, but let's see what some of the other riders have recently said about Jorge Prado.
Frustrates me to see him not being able to show his talent in America at the minute. What are your thoughts on that whole situation?
Even though he's struggling, for me, he's still the second biggest talent after Chad Lawrence. I mean, things are not going his way. Either is it him mentally, is it the bike problems he's facing, is it whatever reason. There's 101 scenarios what people are saying on the internet. I don't know. I spoke to him every now and then, and I mean, whatever he tells me is confidential, so
Yeah.
it's not for people to know. But still, his talent is not gone, and uh, it just hurts me seeing him struggle because I know how good he is.
I don't know if you got speaking to him in America, but what do you think's happened to him? Is it more bike or him? He's not, because obviously he's not showing the level he had the year before in MXGP.
Yeah, Jorge, I'm really sad for him, of course, because I know him since he was riding 85, and he was with us a lot of years, riding with myself, and we battled some races also after. And what seeing now like that, it's quite of a struggle for him because he complains about the bike, okay, but I think with his only with his technique and only with his knowledge and experience and trainings, he has to be anyway top 5 every race, even if he's struggling a lot. So seeing him struggling that much, it's not nice, of course, and for sure I talk with him. He's figuring out a lot of difficulties on the team there, but I hope he can figure it out and show what he's capable of. Yeah.
How did you approach situations like that in your career where the bike wasn't where you wanted it, you didn't feel comfortable enough to maybe win? Were you able to accept a 3rd, 4th, 5th and work with the team that way? How would you approach that scenario?
Yeah, let's say that I always have been quite good with setting up the bike myself, and also because the team where I was for 20 years, the Carly team always explained me things since I was small and learned me how to set up the bike and everything. So I was a guy who was quite let's say technical on this stuff, and I can understand a lot of difference between parts and stuff. So like a dyno, let's say, human dyno, let's say. So I think it's something you need to have, where people don't know you like him, and he has been in the team with the Carly, of course, for a lot of years, and they set up the bike for him and everything. He's quite a young age still, and going there and don't having so much experience in setting up the bike is also difficult, because when you don't know what you really want, you can go easily off way, and then if you don't have a guy in the team that tells you, hey, stop, you need to go this way, then it can be a very big struggle. Yeah.
Just finally,
Ken Roczen gives his view on Jorge Prado's current situation, and this is from GateDrop.com. Ken Roczen has been giving his view on Jorge Prado's situation while talking to Adam Cincerillo and Justin Brayton on their new podcast, AC and JB. Roczen, who has, of course, had to make the switch from MXGP to the USA with a lot of expectation as a world champ in the 250 class, understands the situation Prado is in. Ken said that's a little bit of a tough one, right? He came in and, Supercross was new to him, got hurt right away. It's hard coming back from injuries, anyways, wherever you are. And then mix that in with something that's completely new. I am a little bit shocked, I guess, that he hasn't been better. Having said that, I don't know, like the bike setup wise might be an issue. You know what I mean? At least that's what I'm thinking. And I know for me, the bike has to be right for me to really, really go fast. Or if it's not, I'm just not that great. You know what I mean? Having said that, it's always a little hard to wrap my head around that a factory team doesn't have some base settings that are, they got to be, in the ballpark, manipulate it from there. Having said that, wow, he likes to say having said that a lot. I have seen it also with my own eyes being with Honda, just something to where like nothing really works. The window of the bike isn't that big. So I'm not 100% sure what he exactly struggles with. Having said that, I did expect him to be, this is not a bash on him by any means. I did expect him to be a little bit better, and especially now that we are a few rounds in. And I haven't seen that, progression of getting better bit by bit. So I'm not sure what the actual problem is. You got to give him time. It wouldn't surprise me that if by the end of the season he all of a sudden is a podium guy. We don't know until we get there. So yeah, just a little bit of a surprise that he hasn't really put it up there yet. And even with the starts, because we know how good he is with the start, I know he's a completely different bike. I know he's on a completely different bike. And I also know how easy it is to say when you are somewhere new or on a new bike that everything's better, this is better, that is better. And it's, but when it comes down to it, the reality is it just ain't there yet. I don't know. I'm more really, really curious just to see where it goes, from here in the next 2-3 rounds. I mean, Kenny's been in his shoes before, so you can take his opinion and it has value to it. But like he said, he doesn't really know behind closed doors what's going on. What do you guys think is the problem? Tell me in the comments down below.
Yeah, obviously, Jorge Prado's been a big subject for a lot of people, from even when we first found out he was going to come over here and race, coming from the GPs. You lived that life. You came from Europe over here. You've been super successful, multi-time champion. The list goes on for your accolades. Can you relate to Jorge a little bit? Was it tougher than you expected coming over here? The tracks, the bike, like what did you struggle with most? And are you surprised he's struggling as bad as he is?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a tough one, right? He came in and, Supercross was new to him, got hurt right away. It's hard coming back from injuries anyways, wherever you are, and then mix that in with something that's completely new. I am a little bit shocked, I guess, that he hasn't been better. Having said that, I don't know, like bike setup wise might be an issue, you know what I mean? It's at least what I'm thinking, and I know for me, the bike has to be right for me to go really, really fast, or if it's not, I'm just not that great, you know what I mean? Having said that, it's always a little hard to wrap my head around that a factory team doesn't have some base settings that they gotta be, in the ballpark and rideable, and then you manipulate it from there. Having said that, I have seen it also with my own eyes, being with Honda, just something to where like nothing really works. The window of the bike isn't that big, so I am not 100% sure what he exactly struggles with. Having said that, I did expect him to be, that this is not a bash on him by any means. I did expect him to be a little bit better, and especially now that we are a few rounds in, and I haven't seen that, progression of getting better bit by bit, so I'm not sure what the actual problem is. Having said that, you got to give him time. It wouldn't surprise me that if by the end of the season, he all of a sudden is a podium guy. We don't know until we get there. So yeah, just a little bit of a surprise that he hasn't really put it up there yet. And even with the start, because we know how good he is with the start. I know he's on a completely different bike. And I also know how easy it is to say when you are somewhere new or on a new bike that, oh, everything's better, this is better, that is better. And it's, but then when it comes down to it, the reality is that it just ain't there yet.